I was thinking about this the other night, and like where I'm at right now is how do we create the most acceleration possible? And that has everything to do with energy. The only way to accelerate is you have to have energy. And the more energy we can get going in the same direction, the faster or the bigger the positive momentum for everyone, right? And then everyone can feed off of each other's energy and momentum. And I thought what would be important is to really kind of give you all clarity, and I'm doing this because it also gives me clarity of what's happening in my life. I have a lot of moving parts right now. I have a lot of noise and a lot of distraction. So it's hard to accelerate when your focus gets shifted, every day. And sometimes you have to stop and you have to say, what are the keys to creating acceleration of where I'm in to where I want to go? And I can tell you right now, being able to interview some of the wealthiest people in the world, some of the most dynamic people in the world over the last 20 years, the one thing that every person that's accelerating, they're leveling up their life, has in common. And this gives you the edge, and it's a burning desire, right? I'll never forget 20 years ago, I had this little card, and it was the keys to success. And having a burning desire was number one. And so I want you to really check your burning desire today. And it can be just a quick check-in. Like, do you have it here? Do you want it? And what is it that you do want? Because without a hunger, without a desire, you're not going to get further. You're not going to go to another level. You're always going to subconsciously be content with where you're at. That's just the fact. So, the whole thought leaders and all the trainers, everyone's a trainer or thought leader these days, but they all talk about being uncomfortable. And what they mean by that is create a desire that makes you stretch yourself a little bit. So what I want to do is I want to give you 4 key ingredients to accelerating your business, accelerating your life. And I want you all to take this to heart. Key number 1 is going to be creating a clear and compelling vision for yourself, right? See, without a vision of what you want, then there's nothing to look forward to. You're not going to stretch yourself. There's no desire to do more, to be more. So what I would recommend is everyone, when you get off this call, create a clear, decisive, compelling vision for yourself. And what I mean by that, the vision doesn't have to be just 5 or 10 years. I think there's 3 components to this. It's create a compelling vision for yourself in the next 2 weeks, because this can be the trigger to create positive momentum, to accelerate your life, accelerate your business. Does that make sense? But the key ingredient for acceleration is having a compelling vision for yourself. Without a compelling vision, then the present becomes meaningless and it becomes unbearable, or it becomes energy, missing energy, right? Like there's nothing to move you. You have to move yourself, right? And how you move yourself is between your ears. Your imagination is the greatest tool you have to create more burning desire within yourself, more hunger. Your imagination is the greatest tool you have to create your future. Are you using your imagination? You have to see what isn't as if it were so you can go make it that way, right? I do this constantly, whether it's conscious or subconscious. It's something that we have to do right now. Where do we want 2022 to be? It starts right now. What I'm going to ask of you is I want you to view yourself, see yourself in the future. See yourself now, and by the end of the day, like sometimes it's not just about 5 or 10 years. Some of us can't even visually get there. So create a more compelling vision for yourself today. Do it on a daily basis, right? But you have to see what isn't as if it were. And that power will bring mighty forces to your aid. I'm telling you. They talk about conscientiousness, right? We've talked about being conscious leaders within our community. And the reality, a lot of psychologists are saying now that consciousness is the time that we spend in our own brain, right? Imagining different scenarios for ourselves. That's consciousness. That's meditation, so to speak, right? That is a tool that does work. So are you using that tool? Because it's the little things that create the big things, right? So you have to sometimes peel back the onion to the least common denominator to get you where you've always wanted to go. And that comes up to step number 2. Key number 2, ingredient number 2, and this is going to be tough for a lot of us, but I'm telling you, I'm saying this for myself, and hopefully you all can resonate. But the thing that we have to do is we have to know our outcomes. Is I want you to identify a very specific outcome each day to accomplish. I was listening to a friend the other day, and they said they went through this course, and someone told them to write down 100 needs and wants. And I got overwhelmed just when they said that to me, right? The key to acceleration is having a singular laser focused on something. Every successful person, they have a way of drowning out the noise and focusing. You've heard the saying, if you chase two rabbits, you will catch none. It's the truth. The people that always are the most successful are the ones that they know their outcome. They know what they're going for, right? And they don't stop until they achieve that outcome. The problem sometimes that we create on ourselves is we create multiple outcomes and none of them get hit. So we create casualty in every single one of them, right? Or we do all of them half-assed. When I got in the best shape of my life, I didn't have anything going on. So what did I focus on? I focused on my health and my body. And literally I was waking up, I was working out 2 to 3 times a day. I was eating perfect, and I got in the best shape of my life. And yes, I can do it again. That was my focus. It was my singular focus. Does this make sense? And I can tell you, I've seen this happen so many times within our own community. People, they made $1 million and then their business goes down a little bit, but you ask yourself, what did they do to get to the million? They had a focus of driving their business, and it started with their own personal energy. And that energy created acceleration for them. And then all of a sudden, once they shifted their lifestyle financially, all of these distractions started coming in. By the way, I'm a prime example. That happens to me, right? And then when that happens, is they lose focus on what got them there. Does this make sense? Because they're too busy dealing with all of these other aspects, and it divides their focus. And so I just think it's really important that if you want to have a bigger future, get clarity on the outcome that you're doing. But I'm telling you, if you want acceleration, have a burning desire, create a compelling vision for yourself on a daily basis. What does today look like for yourself? Make it a fun day. Make it an empowering day. The second thing is know your outcome. Cut off all the distractions and choose one outcome to accomplish, right? So if you wrote out a list of 100, which I don't think I could, I think that, who was the guy? Warren Buffett. He said that if you take your top 10 or 20 goals, eliminate all of them but 3, and you'll accomplish them. If you keep all of them down, it'll create noise. I think it was him. I'm pretty sure it was. So choose one. And which one is the most important? And then number 3 is be willing to do trade-offs. Be willing to let some things go. People ask me a lot, well, why do you always say priorities are never in conflict? Why do you say that there's no such thing as balance? And I heard David Goggins on one of his videos talk about, some people want balance in their life, and that's great. That's comfortableness. That's mediocrity. And he's so intense, it's crazy. But he's like, you're not going to accomplish anything great with balance, right? Because what balance means is that you have 100% of your energy, right? And that 100% of that energy, you're dividing it 10% here, 10% here. If you're focused on 10 aspects of your life, each aspect's getting 10%. So that's how you utilize 100%. Anybody that's doing anything great, they dump the majority of their energy into their priority of their outcome in their business, right? That one thing. But you have to be willing to let some things go. I had a friend of mine several years ago. I got so overwhelmed and anxious. They said, it's okay. It's okay. You're going to have to let some balls drop and come back and pick them up later. My point being is you have to be willing to do trade-offs, right? So maybe instead of listening to music or watching TV at night, you do some extra content, or you make one extra phone call, or whatever it might be. But that's key number 3. There has to be trade-offs right now because that's essential to achieving a goal, right? And then key number 4 is just intentional action, taking action. So how much of your day is congruently designed about hitting that one outcome? Or the actions you're taking, if you take them and you execute them, is it going to help you achieve that outcome? But focus on what you're truly committed to. And I think that a lot of us make decisions sometimes, but we don't truly commit to those decisions. Commitment, is about staying consistent to the action. Commit to the action that it's going to take for you to achieve your outcome, right? The more committed that you become, I'm telling you this, I want you all to hear this. The people that are seeing the most success, it's not because they're more talented. I want you all to hear this. Their talent has grown because of their commitment. The more committed you are, the more talent you create within yourself. The more committed you become, the more the process will get clearer and clearer. Does this make sense? Another way of doing it is do the work. Just do the work. And then and that's how you create momentum, right? Commitment is creating momentum. And so just to recap that is, number one, clear vision for yourself. Use your imagination. It doesn't have to just be 5 or 10 years. Look at tangible things right now today. Shift today. Don't wait 5 years. For some of us, that's too far out. Number two, identify one specific outcome that we can all achieve. What's one goal that you want to achieve in the next 2 weeks? Use that as your base. Number three, don't be afraid to make trade-offs. It's okay if some things drop. Exchange some of the goals of the 100 goals, exchange some of those for more time towards the one. And then, number four is just be consistent. Consistent action wins every time. Be committed to your action and your consistency. And so hopefully this helps, but let's really take advantage of this. The more momentum, the more energy and acceleration we can create the next 2 weeks, the bigger the carrots will be in November.